this is quite an interesting board. Justicar Trueheart coming down, feeling like a throwback to Aggro Paladin prior to the Witchwood expansion. So it's his tokens versus my big threats here. And often, when you're facing an aggro deck, you will obsess with protecting your face. So you'll obsess with finding and playing taunts. There's a taunt that's just drawn. And you'll obsess with trading. You then realise, hang on a minute, I have lethal. Because 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 3 is 16, plus 2 from the hero power is 18. However, we can do this in style, because I know that the last beast left in my deck is King Crush. King Crush to the face, wins the game, feels pretty amazing. And even if we were not in a position to get lethal, we had another taunt we could play, we still probably would have won this game. Okay, what am I playing today? I am playing Recruit Hunter on Wild Mode. Now, I've had a lot of fun playing Recruit Hunter on Standard, and I've played kind of a version of Recruit Hunter on Wild a couple of weeks back. You may have seen it on my channel, but it was a secrets-heavy version with King Crush as a finisher. Whereas this is more of a full-on sort of Recruit Hunter. You know, you have the Seeping Oozlings, you have Silver Vanguard, only one copy though. You have Katrina, of course. So the aim is to get big threats out early. Play dead on Seeping Oozling is pretty awesome. You've got Ragnaros the Firelord in this deck, and of course Rag is a wild exclusive card. So you know, Rag, to me, he can be a bit hit or miss. I mean, literally, the 8 damage doesn't always go where you want it to go. When you're facing an aggro deck that can go really wide on the board with tokens, Rag sniping down a 1 attack, 1 health minion isn't always ideal. So I have mixed views on Ragnaros. But you know, still the 8 damage itself, I mean, when it hits the targets that you want it to hit, it is pretty awesome. Lotheb, another wild exclusive card, really awesome because it can buy you another turn, in that it can delay lethals from spell heavy decks. So yeah, depending on what you're facing in the meta, Lotheb can be an essential card to include. And of course we have Deathstalker Rexar in this deck. To me, this card is the real MVP in this deck. The unlimited value from the zombie beast is just insane. You've heard me talk about it before when we've looked at Recruit Hunter in Standard. But let's look at a few games of this deck in action on the Wild Mode ladder, and we're going to start out against a rogue. Now, this opening hand is pretty interesting, depending on the kind of rogue that we're facing. You can make an argument, I think, to keep all of these cards. We do have 1-drops in this deck, so again, you can argue that it's important to mulligan aggressively for those. But all of these cards can have some kind of value for me. If it's an aggro rogue, then maybe Tar Creeper is pretty good, so I'm going to keep the Tar Creeper. Stitch Tracker helps me discover something useful. Seeping Oozling is Seeping Oozling. The sooner you can play it and get value, the better. And the Hunter Death Knight is just insanely good. Really, really good. Can find you solutions to particular problems that you're facing. Just very, very flexible card.
This beast will not be tamed.
The Devil's Saw and the Crush are very, very expensive. Therefore, I'm going to take Dirty Rat. Again, Dirty Rat could do something interesting in this game. If this is Kingsbane Rogue, maybe the Dirty Rat can pull out the Shiny Finder to delay him from drawing into Kingsbane. I mean, it's wishful thinking, but it's possible. The other use for Dirty Rat, and it is Kingsbane Rogue, the other use for Dirty Rat is to pull out Cold Light Oracle if he's going to try and mill us. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this before. I hate Kingsbane Rogue. Or rather, I hate playing against it. And decks that I hate playing against, usually they're decks that I don't tend to play either. But yeah, I hate Kingsbane Rogue. It's just that once they buff that weapon up, and they put the healing effects on it, it's just more or less impossible to kill them unless your board is loaded up with high attack minions. Now, this deck is a deck that can load a board up with high attack minions, so you can actually out damage them, and the healing from the weapon is pretty much negated. So he has a handful of spells, which is very interesting. They're probably all buff effects for his weapon. Yep. Deadly poison. Oh look, leeching poison. There's the heal effect that we did not want to see. And of course, you know, he has it on his turn 6. Of course. They always seem to draw really well. Always seem to have the answers they need. And this isn't me being salty. It's just, they always seem lucky. But we have an interesting hand. We have a very interesting hand. We can start putting down these massive threats. And he doesn't have many cards in hand, so we can see if we can force out a Vanish early. The trouble with Vanish, though, is that against these big bodies and these big threats, it doesn't do very much, because I will just replay them. So we have 2 Lich Kings here. And, I mean, that value alone is insane. Combine that with Deathstalker Rexar, and I'd argue at this point in the game, we're pretty favoured. Wow, he's really going all out here to just to try his best to damage these minions. It's not doing enough, though. And I suspect that Vanish will soon be coming down, and we have to be careful that we don't overdraw. We have 6 cards in hand, so if he vanishes this board, it's fine. But I have terrible memories of playing as Reno Lock against Kingsbane Rogue, and you know, as a Warlock, you'll tap a lot, hoard cards in your hand, and then he vanishes, and you're just really sad because those cards don't come back to hand, they just die because there's no room in your hand, and then you start overdrawing. It's just really, really awkward. And because I love playing Reno Lock, Kingsbane Rogue does annoy me an awful lot. So, we have the Play Dead. Do I want to trigger... Do I want to trigger Play Dead now? I think I do. I mean, if he has Vanish, this is a board that he needs to vanish. We are going to mill here. We're going to overdraw a card if he does this, but it's fine. Desperation Shiv there. He's really searching. Searching for something. Searching for Vanish, presumably. Oh, here he goes. Well, it's not Vanish. It's going for the healing there.
I must choose soon.
Doing a bit of calculating. Because I had lethal there. Yeah, he needed to sap. Oh, I had lethal. We're still doing really sort of a good amount of damage here. King Crush to the face. Is that a possibility, or do I just play the Lich King?
Warriors of the frozen waste.
Just keep the pressure up. I think the Lich King here is fine. King Crush, I mean, that would have done some damage to his face. But we may want to keep King Crush as a surprise lethal, potentially. Although it's not really going to be needed. Yeah, I probably should have King Crushed on that last turn, because if you look at my hand, I have Quick Shot, I have 5 damage from the Lich King spell, I have Zero Power. Yeah, I should have King Crushed. I should have got that damage in while I could. And then finished him off. Maybe a bit of a misplay on my part. Because now he's healing up.
My hand is too full.
And that's not a bad card to discard. It's not a bad card at all to discard. But anyway. We have lethal. Death Coil. Huh. Pretty good. And that feels really, really satisfying. Beating a Kingsbane Rogue. Really satisfying. Okay. Next little game is against a priest. Now, at this rank, it can only be Big Priest. It only ever is Big Priest. Now, I said earlier that I hated Kingsbane Rogue. I also hate Big Priest. In fact, I hate Big Priest even more. A lot of people say that there's very little thought needed in Big Priest. Very little decision making. In other words, you're looking for one thing. You're looking for Barnes on turn 4. If you get Barnes on 4, you basically win. Especially if you get a minion that is useful in the context that you're in. And quite often, I tend to find that my opponents get Obsidian Statue, which, even at 1 attack, 1 health, will kill whatever I've got on my board, because of its Death Rattle effect, and then they resurrect it, and then you can never get a foothold on the board ever again, because they just bring out more statues with their resurrection effects. So yeah. What do I pick here? I'm taking the Devil's Saw. The chances are we're going to need to trade into or charge... well, it's not a charge effect, it's a rush effect. We're going to need to rush into things here, because there's going to be some big bodies coming down from this Big Priest. Katrina is fine. So it will be his big bodies, his big minions versus mine. I do think he has the advantage because of his resurrection effects. Okay. So, Lotheb. Let's see what he can do in response to this. Nothing. I mean, this feels really bad. This feels really, really bad. But I'm trying to keep the pressure going here. Oh, Yash Raj, of course. Of course. Oh, that's alright. That's actually okay. So, we kill the Barnes to make his resurrection pool you know, less effective. And just keep the pressure up. Just keep the pressure up. Oh dear Lord. Well, that's going face, and that's going face. We've just dealt a lot of damage to his face. Greater healing potion is an issue, potentially, for us. We're just hoping that he doesn't have it. And then we're going to force him to trade into our minions. Except both of these are not things that you want to trade into. Yeah, so he goes face. We are so close to killing him here. So close. Assume he's looking for greater healing potion. Or some way to get Obsidian Statue down. Because he needs the healing. Well, push the damage, I think, while we can. Or do we trade the Oozling in? Do we trade Katrina into something? This is quite tough. What are we banking on here? Are we banking on King Crush? If we do the trade. There he is. Did I mess that up? Could I have done that differently? Possibly. Oh, that's useful. Yeah, I don't know if I missed lethal. But it's okay. I mean, look at our board. Look at our board, right? There's only one card that can save him here. Psychic Scream is what he's looking for. Oh, look. There it is. So, we need to hero power every turn here. The Lich King may give us something useful. That's not useful. Army of the Dead. We really needed the weapon, or the 3 damage AoE, or the 5 damage spell. Never lucky with the Lich King. Oh, that's unlucky. And he continues to heal. Okay. Play Dead is useless. Army of the Dead. I have no faith in that actually working out in my favour. So again, just try and keep the pressure up. That's all we can do. Oh dear. That's not what we wanted to see. That's now going to heal him. And as a big priest, this is how you make your comeback. Okay. Let's see what we get. That's... that's not so good. So... how do we kill that?
wonder.
This is where it all starts to fall apart. Once he starts playing the spellstones and getting his large threats back to life, there'll be nothing we can do. We'll get overrun, unfortunately. Our deck only has so much value in it. His deck can just keep generating value again and again. I mean, we do have Deathstalker Rexar, okay, which is infinite value. But it's usually a case of generating, you know, one zombie beast per turn and playing one beast per turn, usually. Whereas with the priest, he has all of those glorious resurrection effects, the spell stones that can summon, you know, four threats back. And if he plays Shadow Visions, discovers another spellstone, then the threats just keep on coming in waves, and there's nothing we can do. But yeah, he seems to have gone to sleep. That's interesting. Huh. Well, fair enough. I will absolutely take this win. Just need to figure out the best way of going about this. So I'm just trying to do the calculation in my head of. Oh, okay, fair enough. Just wanted to make sure that I'd have lethal. But yeah, I'll take that win. Okay. So we faced a Kingsbane Rogue, we faced a big priest, and now Dragon Priest. Yes, that's right. Dragon Priest, which could very well be a spiteful Dragon Priest. Spiteful Dragon Priest was very popular for a short period of time. And if it is Spiteful Dragon Priest, then we can expect Mind Control and Free from Amber. Draconoid Operative, or Draconoid OP, which is indeed OP. How do we deal with it?
My pack will hunt you down.
Okay, Houndmaster Shaw essentially has a passive taunt effect on it. It's something that needs to be removed as quickly as possible. Okay, he's searching for a answer here. Doesn't seem to have a direct answer. Ooh. That wasn't very clever. That really wasn't very clever. I think he was hoping to pull something with the rat and then trade in with the operative. But yeah, the Vanguard is not something you want to trade in with. Oh, that's annoying. We can't rush with Ragnaros. It's really, really annoying. But we can rush with the 3/3. Well, let's see what we get here. Okay, fair enough. Looking to just preserve as many bodies on my board as possible here. Board control, I think, is our priority. And then we can push face and win. We have King Crush in hand, so by the time we get to turn 9, we can use him to win. Still cannot kill Houndmaster Shaw. Interesting. But sadly, we can't play anything in our hand for another 2 turns. Okay, so Houndmaster Shaw not as impactful as we would have hoped, but he's still alive. That's actually quite shocking.
Once upon a time.
So hopefully Ragnaros here can protect the Houndmaster. Although 1 health, I mean, he's super vulnerable to all sorts of things. It's turn 7 next turn, and we can't play anything that's in our hand. That's really unfortunate. It's really, really unfortunate. And that's one of the issues with Recruit Hunter. Sometimes you just have all your big threats sitting idly by in your hand, and you can't do anything with them. I could have used my face in the minion there and preserved one of my minions on the board, but it's fine. I don't think that that's going to make a world of difference. On a positive note, Houndmaster Shaw is still alive, and next turn we can rush the Lich King into something.
The light has betrayed me.
Okay. Houndmaster Shaw is indeed still alive. This is unfortunate. We can't throw the Lich King face. It's just the rush effect that we've got, but it's fine. Now surely Shaw is going to die on this turn. Surely. But that is 2 damage from his hero power that is being used. And hopefully he leaves the Lich King alone. Both of these bodies, these minions, are priorities to remove. And considering he's now transformed himself into the Death Knight, his healing options are going to be very limited, hopefully. So, if the Lich King lives and he does 8 damage to the face, that is really, really significant. Wow, this really is a full-on Dragon Priest. So we could silence, go face, and hero power this turn. That feels good because if I play the charged Devil's Saw, I can trade in, but I can't hero power. So this play managed to get me an extra 2 damage. That's pretty important. So now he's nearly dead, and I think there's very little that saves him. The fact that he's playing Shadow Reaper Anduin makes me think that there's going to be Mind Blasts in his deck. Some kind of OTK. And that the dragons are just in the deck for a bit of board presence and, you know, to help trade with things. He thinks that's going to save him. He thinks he's out of range from the hero power. Well, he's out of range from the hero power. But King Crush, finishing another game. Alright, let's look at a final game. I'm going up against an aggro dude paladin. Now, Aggro Dude Paladin. I don't think we're favoured against that kind of deck. Their ability to kill you very, very quickly with a wide board full of aggressive minions that then get buffed up, it's something that we can't really deal with. Tar Creeper in this instance helps a little bit. If you can get the Fireflies, oh look, there's a Firefly. If you can get the Fireflies early to trade into some of their early board, then you stand a chance. But it really is all about disrupting their first few turns, making sure they can't build a wide board, just stalling for as long as possible until you can get your big threats down. I've had some luck if I can find my taunts very early in this deck and get them played. So if you look at my hand, we have another Tar Creeper, that's pretty good. But too often I've found that they just rush me down too quickly. And I don't draw my taunts, I don't draw any of my early game, and I just get killed.
Which path to choose?
And even if you feel like you're about to stabilise in the mid to late game, they play Sunkeeper Tarim and just ruin your day. It's really interesting that he put his face into that. He took 3 damage. I find that interesting. Now our priority here is to kill off the dudes. Dudes get buffed. We can't have that at all. And we've set up Houndmaster Shaw. Now, you saw in the previous game,
Well met.
Shaw was able to survive for a bit. He didn't do much for me, but just the threat of having him on the board is pretty significant. It does make your opponent sweat a little bit. And we have to kill the 3/3. He's looking for dude generation value, and we can't have that. So he's got to die. Developing another Tar Creeper feels reasonable here. We can rush with it, which is pretty cool. So, 2 taunts up that he's going to struggle to kill. And we just need to draw some more stuff that we can rush with. More dudes being generated. The danger is that I spend the entire game just trading with dudes and doing no damage to his face. That's the danger here. No synergy with Shaw here. Nothing we can play outright and rush in. And we continue the trading game. And he'll continue the dude summoning game. But if we get to turn 8, we should be fine. But then we have Katrina and we have the Lich King. And both of those cards, hopefully, will help us seal out the game. The fact that we've still got quite a high health total is quite surprising to me. And he's going to have to work very hard to kill me once those big bombs come down, once Katrina, once the Lich King get put onto the board. And it'll be interesting to see what Katrina summons to. I'm not sure what he's thinking about here. He's probably looking at Shaw and thinking, oh god, I've got to kill that quickly.
Nothing scares me, except the mice.
Act now. Reporting for duty.
Well, this is a bit of an awkward turn. Can't actually play any cards in our hand. And again, this is one of the issues with this deck. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. So surely now he will kill Houndmaster Shaw. But we can surprise him next turn with something big. Oh god. And the fact that he's gone so wide on the board is a bit scary. think face is sensible there. I mean, he has a lot of damage on the board, but he has to start trading with my board. And Katrina is something you really don't want to trade into, because she'll just bring out another beast. So he's in a bit of a dire situation here. And I traded my face into his 2-1 just to remove something from the board. I know it gives something else Divine Shield, but I just wanted to remove something. This is a problem. It's actually a really big problem. Okay, less of a problem. There's Quick Shot, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is lethal. But we may as well see. Bit of BM here. Let's see what we would have got. Okay, Charge Devil Saw. Still wouldn't have been enough because of all of these taunt effects on the board. But we'll make him think that he has some hope of winning this game. Pretend we're searching for an answer here, maybe. Play the Stitch Tracker. Okay, can't play that because otherwise we'd miss lethal. But there it is. Ah dear. Top decks are pretty useful sometimes. And there we have it. So, Duwinddk's Recruit Hunter on Wild Mode. My win rate with this deck, I've only played a small sample of games with it, but my win rate with this deck is much more positive actually than my win rate with other popular tier 1 decks on Wild Mode. I find now that when I'm hovering between ranks 2, 3 and 4, I find that my wins with Reno Lock are pretty much 50-50. Some games I win because I draw Reno, some games I lose because I don't. I find that playing aggro decks again is 50-50. If you're facing control decks with big AoEs, you lose, and if they don't have those AoEs, you win. So a lot of the tier 1 decks that I've been playing haven't been very consistent for me, whereas this deck here, out of sort of what 8, 9, 10 games that I've played, I've had something along the lines of a 65% win rate. So strong deck, in my opinion. You've got to be sort of cautious of situations where where you draw all of your big threats in your hand early, no way to put them down on the board quickly. Other situations where I've got Houndmaster Shaw down, but no real opportunity to rush into anything or to be able to play something that I can rush with. So you're very much dependent with this deck on drawing your Fireflies early, drawing your Seeping Oozlings before you draw your massive threats. And if you can do that, you stand a good chance of winning the game. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun.